Assam, in the northeast part of India, which is a South Asian country, is a beautiful green state. It has a rich biodiversity, and the state is home to a number of species. Here you can find thousands of beautiful flora and fauna. The state also has a unique culture of its own that makes it one of the most favorite tourist destinations of the country of India. So nestled in the northeast part of the country of India, we have the state of Assam. The state of Assam is drained majorly by one of the most important rivers of India, that is the Brahmaputra river and its tributaries. So every year during monsoon season, the state of Assam experiences severe floods along the banks of river Brahmaputra. So it is every year in monsoon that the state experiences severe floods because of the Brahmaputra river and its tributaries. Now usually we associate floods with a disaster event. So we often call floods as a disaster that causes a lot of damage to property and life. But in Assam, the case is a little different. Have you ever visited the Kaziranga National Park? It is home to a number of unique species and home to the largest number of single-horned rhinos. Now, do you know where is this located? Well, the Kaziranga National Park is located in the Kaziranga grasslands of Assam. Now, the regular floods of Assam along the banks of Brahmaputra river gives life to these Kaziranga grasslands. So Kaziranga grasslands, that is home to one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, that is the Kaziranga National Park, is a huge expanse of rolling grasslands. These grasslands are flooded every year during monsoon season by the Brahmaputra river and its tributaries. Now, as I mentioned, though floods are usually associated or referred to as a disaster, for the state of Assam, these regular floods actually bring life to these Kaziranga grasslands. It makes this huge expanse of rolling grasslands very fertile, proving to be good grounds for not only the animals that survive here, but also for cultivation purposes. Now, as you can see in the map of Assam, the Kaziranga grasslands cover most of the portions of the state, and right here around the northern part of the grasslands we have the Kaziranga National Park, which is home to a number of species and the single-horned Indian rhinos. The Kaziranga grasslands is a huge expanse of rolling grasslands, as I mentioned. It consists of a number of forests, including the tropical dense semi-evergreen forest, the moist deciduous forest, and the wet evergreen forest. It is home to 18 wildlife sanctuaries, including the UNESCO World Heritage Site, that is the Kaziranga National Park. It is home to the largest number of single-horned rhinos in India and also a number of other mammals and a species of number of birds. But unfortunately, the number of flood, that is the frequency of the floods, had increased over the years, and it has led to severe flooding during 2017. It is one of the most dangerous and deadliest times where it caused a huge loss of life and property. It is believed that it led to the killing of 361 animals, including 31 rhinos and other mammals. Now, it forced the animals to move towards cities, making it a dangerous situation both for the animals and the people of Assam. The state of Assam experiences frequent flooding, and this is mostly because of the Brahmaputra river and its tributaries. We know that Brahmaputra river is fed by glaciers, but because of increased global warming, the glaciers are melting, which has led to intensified and frequent flooding of the state of Assam, and this has led a huge damage to the state of Assam. Now, as we just saw that because of the melting of glacier and the rising of sea level, the Brahmaputra river and its tributaries have caused severe floods along its banks, causing major damage to the people of Assam and the animals that live in the Kaziranga grasslands. So in proper reference or in particular reference to the Assam flood of July 2017, it had caused immense loss of life and property and made situations very difficult and critical for the people of Assam. This flood affected around 26 districts and affected around more than 17 lakh people. It also led to huge loss of life and property. So from the pictures that we see on the screen, we see that people seem to be somehow surviving in this unfortunate situation where they have lost their homes and they have no access to basic needs. Now the flood of 2017 not only affected the people and the property but also caused huge damage to crops and vast farmlands. So the Assam flood of 2017 greatly affected the livelihood of agricultural community. So we know that agricultural community mostly includes low and middle income group people. So because of this severe flood that caused huge loss of life and property, the croplands were also damaged. So around 86,000 hectares of crop area was destroyed or damaged. And this greatly affected the life of agricultural community whose primary source of income includes agro-based activities. So the Assam floods had a major impact, a negative one, on the people of Assam and also the resources of the state. So here is a glimpse that shows us how the farmlands were severely flooded and it destroyed the crops. While this picture shows us the condition of the farmlands before the flood, this picture shows us the unfortunate situation that existed after the flood had occurred. Now in the course of events, that is during and after the flood, the people who were most affected by the flood of Assam 2017 included the women and children with no access to basic amenities and also safe drinking water. Sanitation was at stake and they were exposed to all sorts of waterborne and other types of diseases that spread rapidly during the flood. The floods of Brahmaputra river in 2017 not only affected the people of Assam but also severely impacted the people living in Bihar, West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh. So here is a chart that shows us how many people had lost their lives and the number of people who were majorly affected by the floods of 2017. While in Assam we see that nearly 3 million people were affected, 144 died or lost their lives during this event. On the other hand, we also have a huge loss of life for the state of Bihar and around 10 million people were affected. A number of people were also affected in West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh, that is around 1.5 and 1.4 million people respectively. So we see that the floods of Brahmaputra that proves to be important for the state of Assam, on the other hand, caused huge damage and loss of life for all these states. Now after the flood had occurred and during the flood, the rescue team included the Assam State Disaster Management Authority, also known as ASDMA. And this worked in accordance with India's Disaster Management Act of 2005. If you remember in the last lesson, we learnt about the India's Disaster Management Act of 2005 that actually influences the working and functioning of all the state authorities or the state disaster management authorities. So when the flood occurred in 2017 in Assam, the Assam State Disaster Management Authority came into action and this worked under the guidelines of India's Disaster Management Act of 2005. This received funds and assistance from national level too. It worked in coordination to rescue people from sites of this disaster and it also helped them give some relief by providing them with basic necessities and keeping them safe from further vulnerability. So before we proceed with our lesson, could you help me answer this simple question? Could you tell me which of the following is the correct full form of ASDMA? Is it Assam Severe Danger Management Authority, or Assam State Disaster Minimizing Authority, or is it Assam State Disaster Management Authority? So we just learned that the Assam State Disaster Management Authority is the one that rescued and worked in coordination to save the people from the losses and the severity of the flood that occurred in 2017. So the full form of ASDMA is Assam State Disaster Management Authority. Now the ASDMA also required assistance from the national level authorities, and it did receive that assistance from NDRF. Now if you remember from the previous lesson, NDRF refers to a special force of trained professionals, and it is a body at national level that works to provide a special assistance or a special response to any sort of disaster that has occurred in any part of the country. So the ASDMA, that is Assam's State Disaster Management Authority, sometimes collaborates, and here in 2017 flood it did collaborate with NDRF, that is National Disaster Reduction Force, which provided it with necessary funds. And this came along with necessary logistics like boats and basic amenities for the people who were in danger, or the affected community. The affected community was also majorly hit, or most of the people of Assam were majorly hit by the flood, but the problems were multiplied because of the current pandemic situation. So the extensive flooding and the added challenges posed by COVID-19 made the situations even worse, and it increased the sufferings of people in Assam. So people that were already struggling from the COVID-19 challenges were hit majorly with the sudden occurrence of that severe flood in 2017. Now, as a sign of recognition and respect, the President of India, Shri Ram Nath Kovind, flagged off the Red Cross relief material for flood and COVID affected people in Assam. So all the authorities at all national, state and local level that worked in coordination to rescue people and give them the required relief in the situation of that flood were recognized and given respect to by the President of India, who flagged off the Red Cross relief material for flood and COVID affected people in Assam. So just like the President of India, it is our duty to be responsible on our parts and be respectful towards all the hard-working disaster management team and for all the people who worked extensively to rescue the people of Assam, and also who work on a regular basis to give us relief in such disaster situation. So in this lesson, we did a case study of Assam's flood that took place in 2017. We learned the main causes of the flood that included the rise in sea level or river level because of the melting of glaciers, which, as we all know, is a result of human activities and the rising temperatures. We further learnt about the aftermath of the flood, and we learnt how not only people of Assam but people of West Bengal, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh were also severely affected, accompanied with a huge loss of life. We then learned that at both national and state level, the authorities of disaster management worked day and night to provide the necessary amenities and relief, and they were recognized by the President of India. Where we'll be first taking a look at the earthquake that took place in Nepal in 2015. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers, or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million+ questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.